Hi everyone! Welcome back to English Fab, where learning English is practical, useful, and fab. One of the biggest challenges English learners face is describing things clearly and naturally. Maybe you've wanted to describe someone's appearance, a certain taste or smell, a specific emotion, or even the texture of an object, but didn't know the right words to use. Descriptive language is a powerful tool. It helps you express yourself more vividly and makes your conversations more engaging. In today's lesson, we'll go through natural conversations filled with descriptive language. You'll learn key phrases, useful vocabulary, and practical tips to help you talk about people, places, objects, and experiences, including personal character, behavior, color, shape, temperature, sounds, and more. This video includes content related to descriptive topics that we've uploaded so far. Be sure to check each video on our website for further details. If you find English difficult, don't worry. You can translate the subtitles into English in your own language like this. Check the description below for extra details. Are you ready? Let's get started.
So we need to consider everyone's personal character when assigning roles for this project. It's important to have a mix of strengths. What do you think of Sarah?
Sarah? She's definitely a positive influence. She's always encouraging, and her optimism makes the team feel motivated. She's very emotionally supportive, which is key in a group setting.
I agree, she has such a positive attitude. But I noticed she can sometimes be a little too optimistic, which makes her underestimate challenges. That can be a bit of a negative trait when we're working on complex tasks.
That's true, but I think her enthusiasm can balance out the more cautious team members. How about Mark? He's a bit more reserved, but seems reliable.
Mark's a solid team member. He's very dependable, which is a great emotional trait. But he can be a bit too introverted sometimes, especially when we need someone to lead a brainstorming session or spark some creativity.
Yes, he's not the most social when it comes to group discussions. But his focus and practical mindset help keep things grounded. We might just need to encourage him to speak up more. What about Lucy? She's always on top of things, but she tends to be a little critical.
Lucy is very detail-oriented and has high standards, which is great for quality control, but yes, she can be a bit harsh at times. Her critical nature might discourage some of the team members. She can also be a bit impatient when things don't go as planned.
I agree. She's definitely more driven by results than by the process, which can lead to frustration. But her ambition pushes everyone to do better. It's just important for us to help her channel that energy in a constructive way.
True. What about John? He's got a lot of energy but sometimes seems too impulsive and not fully thoughtful in his decisions.
John's definitely lively and brings a lot of energy to the team, which helps keep things dynamic. But his impulsiveness can sometimes lead to mistakes. He's got a great social personality, though, and is very open with his thoughts, which makes collaboration easier.
His social nature definitely helps keep the team connected. I just wish he'd slow down a little and think things through more carefully. Maybe we can help him with that by pairing him with someone more strategic.
That sounds like a good plan. Balancing positive traits like enthusiasm and energy with emotional traits like thoughtfulness and patience is key. We need to make sure everyone's strengths are used well without letting negative traits hold the team back.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between personality types. With a little guidance, everyone can bring out the best in each other.
I'm feeling good about this team. Once we get everyone in the right roles, I think we'll do great things together.
Me too. We've got a strong mix of personalities, and by focusing on the positives and supporting each other with the areas we need to improve, we'll definitely succeed.
Have you met the new guy in the team, Tom?
Yes, I did. He seems really friendly, always smiling and engaging with everyone.
Yeah, he's definitely outgoing. I think he's going to fit in well.
I agree, but did you notice how polite he is? He always says please and thank you. It's refreshing.
I know. It makes such a difference. Not everyone has that level of courtesy nowadays.
True, some people can be so rude. I've worked with people who barely acknowledge you.
That's the worst. It can really affect the atmosphere at work.
Exactly. I feel like Tom's behavior is just so much more pleasant in comparison.
He also seems generous. The other day, he bought lunch for the whole team.
That's really kind of him. It's always nice to see people who are generous, especially at work.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. Unfortunately, I've worked with a few selfish people who only look out for themselves.
Oh, I know what you mean. Some people can be so focused on their own needs that they don't care about others.
Exactly. It's exhausting to work with people who don't pitch in or help out when needed.
That's why it's great to have Tom around. His attitude is much more collaborative.
I completely agree. It's important to feel like you're part of a team, not just working beside people who are indifferent.
Tom seems to be really honest too. When he has an issue, he's open about it, but always respectful in how he addresses things.
That's another great point. Honesty is crucial, but you need to be careful not to come off as rude or harsh.
Exactly. No one likes a person who's constantly complaining or being negative.
And Tom's humility stands out as well. He's not arrogant, even though he's clearly competent.
That's refreshing, isn't it? Some people think that if they're good at something, they have to be arrogant to show it off.
Totally. Tom seems confident without feeling the need to boast. It's a good balance.
And even when he's stressed or dealing with something difficult, he remains calm. It's admirable.
I've noticed that too. He doesn't let stress affect his work or interactions. He stays level-headed.
That's a sign of emotional maturity. It helps to have someone like that in the team.
I feel like his positive attitude is contagious. It makes me want to be more mindful about my own approach to work.
It's great how one person's positive behavior can influence the whole team. I think he's going to be a real asset.
I couldn't agree more. His approach to teamwork and communication is exactly what we need around here.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles more challenging situations. But for now, I'm impressed.
Same here. If he keeps this up, he's going to be a great fit for the team.
It's so good to see you again, James. How have you been feeling lately?
Thanks, Sarah. I've been feeling pretty happy recently, actually. Work's going well, and I've been spending more time with family. How about you?
That's awesome. I've been feeling a bit nervous with all the changes at work. I'm adjusting to a new role, and it's been a little overwhelming.
I can understand that. Starting something new can definitely make you feel anxious. Have you had a chance to take a step back and relax a bit?
A little, but I've been so busy. I guess I haven't had much time to really calm down. How do you stay calm when you're stressed?
For me, I like to take walks or just sit quietly for a few minutes. It helps me gather my thoughts and focus. I also find that deep breathing really helps. It's simple, but it works.
That's a good idea. I should try that. I've also been feeling a bit down lately, especially when I think about how much there is to do. It's like I can't shake this feeling of being overwhelmed.
I get that. It's tough when everything piles up at once. But remember, it's okay to feel that way sometimes. It's normal. What helps me is breaking things down into smaller tasks so it feels less overwhelming.
That's a good point. I've been letting the big picture stress me out, but focusing on one thing at a time might help. I'm also excited about an upcoming vacation, so I'm trying to keep my focus on that to stay positive.
I can see why that's exciting. A little break can really help reset your mood. It's great that you're looking forward to it. What are you planning to do during the vacation?
I'm planning to go hiking in the mountains. It's been a while since I've had some time away from work, and I'm really looking forward to just being in nature.
That sounds perfect. I think being in nature can really help with feeling more peaceful and centered. You'll come back refreshed, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I need. Honestly, it's just hard for me to let go of the worries when I'm so used to being busy. I'm also worried about leaving my team behind while I'm gone.
I totally understand that. It's tough to disconnect when you feel responsible for everything. But you've earned this time off, and you'll be able to recharge. Your team will manage, and you can come back stronger.
You're right. I guess I'm just being too hard on myself. I need to focus on the fact that I'm doing what I can and that it's okay to take a break. I really want to come back feeling confident and ready to tackle everything again.
Absolutely. Confidence comes from taking care of yourself, too. You'll be more productive and balanced when you give yourself that time. Plus, the people around you will appreciate it when you're in a better headspace.
That makes sense. I think I just get stuck in these cycles where I feel like I should always be on the go. But I know that rest is important. It's about finding that balance.
Exactly. It's all about balance. When we take time to reset, we're actually more productive in the long run. And don't forget to be kind to yourself along the way.
You're right, James. I feel so much better after talking about this. Thanks for helping me see things more clearly.
Anytime, Sarah. It's always good to talk things through. Just remember to keep breathing, stay positive, and enjoy your vacation. You've got this.
Thanks again. I'm really looking forward to it now. I think I'm finally starting to feel more at peace with everything.
That's the spirit. You'll be refreshed, and I know you'll come back even stronger.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for the support, James. I'm really glad we had this conversation.
So for this event, do you think we should go for something formal or more casual?
I think it depends on the venue, but I'd say something a bit more polished is better. Looking neat and put together without being too flashy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was thinking of going with something sleek, maybe a well-fitted suit. I want to look professional but not too stiff.
That sounds great. A sharp, tailored look is always a winner. I think I'll wear something with a bit of color. It's a subtle way to stand out without being too bold.
I like that idea. I'm thinking of keeping it simple, maybe a solid color or a clean pattern. I don't want to look too flashy, but I still want to look good.
Right. You don't want to look like you're trying too hard. But at the same time, I think adding a little texture or detail can make a big difference. Maybe a jacket with a nice fabric or a pair of polished shoes.
Exactly. A textured jacket or a sharp accessory could elevate the whole look. Speaking of accessories, do you think I should wear a tie?
I think it depends on how formal you want to look. A tie might make you look a bit more formal, but you could always go for a more relaxed look with an open collar.
Good point. I'm leaning toward an open collar. It's cleaner and more modern, right?
Yeah, it's a great choice if you want to look sharp but still comfortable. And you'll look more relaxed without the extra accessories.
Absolutely. I also want to make sure I don't look too stiff. I want to appear friendly and approachable, not too uptight.
I totally get that. You can keep it laid back but still look put together. Maybe even add a little style with something like a nice watch or a minimalist bracelet to show off your personal style.
I like that idea. A watch would look stylish but still feel natural. It'll show a bit of personality without being too in your face.
Exactly. It's all about balance. You want to look like you've put some thought into your appearance, but not like you're trying to impress everyone too much. Just the right amount of effort.
For sure. I think we're all set then. We'll both look polished, but still approachable.
Totally. We'll look great and feel confident. It's all about the details.
Thanks for the advice, Taylor. I think I've got the perfect outfit now. Let's make sure we look sharp and feel comfortable.
Anytime. I'm sure we'll both look fantastic.
Hey, Emily, I'm having trouble finding clothes that really flatter my body shape. I feel like I'm either dressing too frumpy or too tight.
I totally get that. It's all about understanding your body shape and what works best for you. What kind of shape do you think you have?
Well, I'm definitely not super slim, but I wouldn't say I'm big either. I think I have more of an hourglass shape, but sometimes I feel like certain clothes just make me look bigger than I am.
That makes sense. Hourglass shapes usually look great in clothes that emphasize the waistline. You want to highlight your curves without making anything too tight. Have you tried A-line skirts or dresses?
I haven't, actually. Do you think that would work for me?
Definitely. A-line styles help balance out the proportions and create a more defined waist, which is perfect for your shape. You can also try tops that are more fitted at the waist to show off your figure, but with a little flow around the hips.
Oh, I like that idea. I tend to wear loose tops because I'm worried about things being too tight around my waist.
I totally understand, but it's about finding that balance. You don't want anything too baggy either because it can add unnecessary bulk. Try something slightly fitted. It'll show your figure without being tight.
Got it. And what about pants? I feel like jeans never look good on me.
It might be the fit that's throwing you off. High-waisted pants are great for hourglass shapes because they cinch in your waist and elongate your legs. Skinny jeans can work too, as long as they fit well and aren't too tight.
High-waisted sounds good. I've always avoided them because I thought they'd make me look shorter.
Not at all. They actually elongate the legs and help define your waist. It's a great way to show off your curves. Plus, you can pair them with a tucked-in top or a cropped jacket.
That sounds amazing. I'll definitely give high-waisted pants a try. What about accessories? Do they help with my figure too?
Absolutely. Accessories can be key to drawing attention to your best features. For example, A wide belt can accentuate your waist, or you can go for a statement necklace to draw attention upward.
That makes sense. I've never thought about accessories like that before. I'm excited to try some new outfits now.
I'm so glad to hear that. Remember, it's all about highlighting your shape and feeling comfortable. Once you find the right pieces, you'll feel confident and stylish.
Thanks so much for the advice, Emily. I feel like I have a better idea of what to wear now.
Anytime, Sarah. You've got this. Just embrace your body and have fun with your wardrobe.
So we're making a cheesecake tonight. I think we should go for a really rich, dense one. What do you think?
Oh, I love a dense cheesecake. But if we add too much cream cheese, it might end up too heavy. Maybe we should balance it with some lighter ingredients.
That's a good point. Maybe we could add some whipped cream to lighten it up. It's fluffy and airy, so it won't weigh it down too much.
Right. A fluffy texture would help balance the solid, dense nature of the cream cheese. But we should keep the crust solid too. It needs to be thick enough to hold up the filling.
Absolutely. We don't want the crust to be too thin. It needs to be compact and sturdy. Otherwise, it'll crumble when we cut the slices.
Agreed. The filling can be dense, but the crust needs to have some body. We could also try using a mix of butter and sugar to make it a little thicker.
I'm thinking we should add a few more eggs to give it more structure. Eggs make the filling solid without being too heavy. We don't want it to be too airy though, so the texture is perfect.
Definitely. We don't want it to be too light and fluffy, or it won't have the right texture. A good balance is key. Maybe a little bit of flour to give it just the right thickness?
Sounds good. And we could use some vanilla extract to enhance the flavor without making it too overpowering. We don't need anything too dense or thick in flavor.
I think we're almost there. The key is to make sure everything complements each other, dense filling with a thick, compact crust, and a slight fluffiness to keep it light.
I agree. It's all about balance. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Me too. Let's get started and make the perfect cheesecake with just the right weight and texture.
This dish is amazing. The flavors are so rich and balanced. How's yours, Sydney?
It's really good. I love how fresh and vibrant it tastes. The herbs and spices make a big difference.
I agree. Fresh ingredients can completely transform a dish. What's your favorite flavor profile?
I'd say I'm a fan of savory and spicy flavors. I love anything with a bit of heat. What about you?
I enjoy savory too, but I have a bit of a sweet tooth. Desserts are my weakness.
I can understand that. A good dessert is hard to resist. Do you like rich, chocolatey desserts or lighter ones like fruit tarts?
Both, but I lean toward chocolate. It's so comforting. Do you ever try sour or tangy flavors?
Occasionally. I like things like lemon tarts or anything with a citrus kick. It's refreshing.
That's true. Tangy flavors can brighten up a meal. Do you like bitter flavors, like coffee or dark chocolate?
I do, especially dark chocolate. It's a perfect balance of bitterness and sweetness. What about you?
I enjoy them too, but I prefer mild bitterness. Too much can be overwhelming.
Makes sense. I think exploring different tastes is part of the fun of trying new foods.
Absolutely. It's amazing how different flavors can change your mood or create memories.
So true. This has been a great meal, and it's always fun to share thoughts about food.
Agreed. Let's do this again soon, and maybe try something completely new next time.
Definitely. I'll start looking for a place with interesting dishes to explore.
Wow, this place smells amazing. The flowers are so fragrant today.
I know, right? The aromatic scent of all the herbs is just lovely. I can't get enough of it.
Speaking of herbs, have you ever smelled the pungent scent of raw garlic? It's so strong.
Oh yes, garlic can be so overpowering. I actually find it a bit stinky sometimes, especially when it's raw.
Definitely, but once it's cooked, it has a much more pleasant savory smell. I think it becomes less foul and more welcoming.
I agree. I like how fresh basil smells, so light and refreshing compared to the musty odor some old spices can have.
Speaking of misty, have you ever walked into an old house with that earthy smell? It's not necessarily bad, but it's very distinct.
I have. It's a mix of dust, wood, and age. I think some people actually find that earthy scent comforting.
I get that. It's like the smell of old books. They carry that nostalgic, woody scent. It's so calming.
Oh, I love that. But then again, I'm not so fond of smoky smells, like when someone's been grilling food for hours.
I totally get that. The smell of barbecue can sometimes be overpowering, especially if it lingers in the air too long.
Yeah, exactly. But a mild smoky scent from a wood-burning stove is a different vibe. It feels more cozy.
True, it gives off a very rustic, comforting atmosphere, kind of like the smell of fresh coffee in the morning.
Oh, I agree. Fresh coffee has this warm, inviting aroma. It's like the perfect start to a day.
Definitely, it's amazing how different smells can affect our mood and memories. They really have such a strong impact on us.
It's fascinating how scent is tied to emotion. I guess that's why I love the smell of fresh flowers. It just makes me happy.
Same here. Flowers have that floral sweetness that instantly lifts your spirits. It's the best kind of fragrance to be around.
This sofa looks really nice, but it's so big. It might be too much for our small living room.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We need something smaller that fits the space better. Maybe something more compact would work.
I agree. I don't want anything too massive. I think a tiny sofa would look strange in such a big room, though. It needs to be just right.
True, but we don't need anything gigantic either. How about something that's just the right size? Not too small, but not overwhelming.
Exactly. Something with a wide seat might be nice, but not too wide that it takes up too much room. We need to leave space for other things, like the coffee table.
Definitely. A narrow sofa could be an option, but we'd need to make sure it's still comfortable. I don't want something that's too tight.
Right, the last thing we want is a cramped sofa. Maybe we should look for a sofa with more dimension options, so we can choose what fits best.
Great idea. We could also look for a sofa that's a bit more flexible, like one that's modular, so we can adjust its size depending on the space.
I like that. A modular sofa would let us be more creative with the space. It could also be fun to have a mix of small and large pieces that we can move around.
That's a good point. We could also check for any miniature options for the corners, just in case we need something to fill in a tighter spot.
Exactly. Once we have the right dimensions, we'll be able to figure out what looks best in the room. Let's keep searching for something that fits well, but doesn't feel too overwhelming.
Agreed. With the right balance of size and comfort, we'll find the perfect piece for the apartment.
So, for the logo design, I was thinking we should go with something round. It feels approachable and friendly.
I like that idea. A round shape often conveys a sense of unity and wholeness. But what about something more angular, like a square? It's clean and strong.
True, squares do have a strong, solid presence. But I think a square might come across as a bit rigid. What if we use a more flexible form, like an oval? It's still clean, but softer.
I see what you mean. Oval can feel more dynamic. But what about something with a bit more structure, like a rectangular shape? It gives a sense of stability and order.
Rectangular could work, but I'm also considering something a little more creative, like a spiral. It could symbolize growth and movement. What do you think?
A spiral is definitely more unique and could really catch the eye, but it might be harder to balance with the other elements of the design. I think we need to keep it simple. How about we go with a cylindrical shape for the text part? It could work well with a circular logo.
That's an interesting idea. A cylindrical shape could add some depth, but it might make the design feel too complex. What about combining curved lines with flat edges?
I like that. Curved lines can add elegance, and flat edges will help keep the design grounded. It's a good way to find a balance between soft and hard shapes.
Yes, and we could also play with symmetry. A symmetrical design can feel more balanced and harmonious.
Symmetry is great for creating a sense of order, but we should make sure it doesn't feel too stiff. A little bit of asymmetry might add some visual interest.
Agreed. I think a combination of symmetrical and curved elements could work really well. It would create something modern yet timeless.
Exactly. Let's keep exploring these shapes and forms. We're getting closer to finding something that feels just right.
So, for the color scheme, I was thinking of going with a bold red. It really grabs attention when you think.
I do agree that red is eye-catching, but I'm wondering if it might be a bit too intense. Maybe a softer color, like pastel blue, would give it a more calming appearance.
That's true. Pastel blue does feel more relaxing, but I'm not sure if it's as strong as red. Maybe we could combine them, red for the logo text and pastel blue for the background.
I love that idea. It could create a nice contrast. But we should also think about the overall tone. Should we keep the colors more neutral or add something vibrant for some energy?
I think a neutral color palette with a pop of vibrant yellow could work. Yellow is bright and cheerful, but still doesn't overpower the design.
I like how yellow can bring warmth to the design. However, I'm not sure about using it on the main elements. Maybe we could use yellow for accents or highlights instead.
That makes sense. What about the texture or finish? Should we go for a matte or glossy appearance? Matte feels more modern, but glossy could give the logo more shine.
Glossy could work if we want the design to stand out more, especially in digital formats. But matte might be better for print materials. It gives a more subtle and sophisticated look.
Agreed. I also think we should consider the shape of the logo and how the colors complement it. If we go with a round logo, soft colors like pastel blue will match well with the smooth form.
Right. A round shape and soft colors would make the design feel friendly and approachable. But for something more angular, like a square or rectangular shape, I think we might want to go with deeper, more saturated colors.
Exactly. The shape will really influence the overall vibe of the logo. It's all about balancing the appearance. Too many bold colors can make it feel too loud, while too few might make it seem too dull.
Yep, finding the right balance between color, shape, and texture is key. Let's start experimenting with these combinations and see what feels right.
Agreed. I'm excited to see how it all comes together. Let's get started.
Oh, and we might want to make the background a little more neutralish, so it doesn't distract too much from the logo itself. You know, not exactly white, but kind of a light gray or beige.
Good point. A neutralish background will definitely help the logo pop without being too overwhelming.
So, for the packaging, I was thinking of using a smooth surface. It'll give the product a sleek, modern feel.
That's a good idea, but what if we went for something with a bit more texture? Maybe a matte finish would work better. It's elegant and still feels modern.
Matte does have a nice subtlety, but I was concerned it might make the product look a little too plain. A glossy finish might make the design pop more.
True, glossy finishes do make things stand out, but they can also attract fingerprints and look a little too shiny. Maybe we could go for a textured surface that has some grip but isn't too flashy.
That sounds like a good compromise. Something like a textured surface with a slight grain might give it some depth without overwhelming the design.
I like that idea. It would add some sophistication while still feeling soft to the touch. How about something with a slight raised pattern?
Oh, raised textures could be interesting. It would give the product a tactile feel, making it stand out in a different way. Plus, the raised texture would create some interesting shadows in the light.
Exactly. The way light hits a textured surface can really change the whole look of the product. A textured surface might even make it feel more premium.
I see what you mean. A surface that feels luxurious to the touch could be a great selling point. Maybe we could combine a soft touch with a slightly rougher texture, depending on the area of the packaging.
That could work perfectly. We could have the main body of the packaging with a smooth, soft texture, and then use a slightly rougher texture for the logo or branding to draw attention.
I like that idea. It would create a nice contrast while keeping the overall design cohesive. Now, we just need to decide whether to go with a matte or glossy finish for the logo area.
We should test both options. A matte finish would blend well with the textured parts, but the glossy logo might really grab attention. We'll just have to experiment to see what feels best.
Agreed. Let's start by testing a few different textures and finishes, then we can narrow it down from there.
Perfect. I'm excited to see how this all comes together. Let's get started.
I've noticed that when I run too fast, I get exhausted quickly. It's hard to keep up the pace.
Yeah, running too fast can wear you out. Maybe we should try a steady pace. It's more sustainable for longer distances.
I agree. I feel like my movements are too rapid when I push myself. I need to focus on being more controlled and consistent.
That's a good idea. If you go at a steady, gradual pace, you can maintain your energy longer. We're not trying to race after all.
Exactly. I want to be swift, but I also want to avoid feeling sluggish. It's about finding the balance.
Absolutely. A steady rhythm is key. It's all about making steady progress, not trying to go too fast too soon.
Right. Sometimes, I feel like I'm motionless when I'm not running, like my body is just stuck. I need to keep moving, even when I take a break.
You're not alone. When you're stationary for too long, it feels sluggish. Even small movements like walking or stretching can help you feel more lively.
That's true. When I walk at a moderate pace between running, it feels much better than stopping completely.
A good idea would be to practice gradual acceleration in your runs. Start slow and then speed up as you feel more comfortable.
Yes, I'll try that next time. I also want to focus on making my motion smoother. Sometimes I feel too stiff and robotic.
Try to stay relaxed. Being too tense can slow you down. Let your body move freely and don't overthink it.
Thanks. I think I've got a better idea of how to approach my runs now. Steady, gradual improvements, not rushing.
Exactly. Keep it lively and focused and you'll notice progress. Let's head back now and cool down with a slow walk.
So, James, do you know how far the nearest trailhead is from here?
It's actually pretty close, just a few minutes by car. We can be there in no time.
That's good to hear. I don't want to start the morning with a long drive. Is there any other trail nearby worth checking out?
Yeah, there's another one that's just adjacent to the main trail. It's shorter but leads to a great lookout point.
Oh, I like that idea. Something scenic, but not too far. But what about the big loop trail you mentioned last time?
That one's a bit distant. It's about a 40-minute drive from here, and the hike itself takes a few hours. It's pretty remote. Not many people go there.
Remote sounds nice, honestly. Sometimes it's good to be away from the crowds. But maybe not this weekend.
Yeah, I figured. That one's better when you've got a whole day free. It kind of feels isolated, so we'd have to be prepared.
True. I don't want to risk being out of reach if something happens. It's better to stick somewhere within reach for now.
Good call. The first trail is within reach and super easy to navigate. Plus, it's close enough if we need to come back early.
Perfect. By the way, are there any rest spots or cafes nearby? I wouldn't mind grabbing a coffee afterward.
Yeah, there's a small cafe nearby, just down the road. It's not fancy, but it's cozy.
Nice. I love when everything is close together. Hike, views, and coffee. It makes the whole trip feel more relaxing.
Exactly. And if we enjoy it, next time we can plan for the remote one. It's a great place to disconnect, but a bit out of reach for a casual weekend.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do the nearby trail this time, and keep the remote one for another day.
Agreed. I'll pick you up early, and we'll hit the trail. It's going to be a good day.
Can't wait.
So, what do you think about the lighting so far? I feel like it's a bit too dim in the corners.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The main area looks bright and welcoming, but the sides feel dull.
Exactly. I was thinking maybe we could add some glowing wall lights over there. Something soft but still radiant.
That could work. I love the idea of adding a luminous touch. It gives off such a warm vibe.
Right. And maybe some sparkling fairy lights near the windows. It might create a cozy atmosphere at night.
Good call. But we should be careful. Too much flickering light might be distracting for customers.
True. We should aim for a steady, shiny look, not like a disco ball.
What about that chandelier? It's nice, but feels a little faint. Do you think it's strong enough?
Maybe not. It looks good during the day, but gets lost when it gets darker. Should we swap it for something more radiant?
Yeah, or add a few bright pendant lights around it. That way, the space feels balanced.
I like that. I also think adding a glowing floor lamp near the reading area would make it super inviting.
Perfect. A mix of bright and dim spots can really set the mood here. Let's make a list and get started.
Oh, I almost forgot. What about the entrance? It looks a bit dull from outside. Maybe we can put some shiny signage or sparkling lights above the door.
Ooh, that's a great idea. It would grab attention, especially at night. We don't want the place to feel faint or distant when people walk by.
Exactly. I want it to glow and feel welcoming. The whole point is to make people curious and want to come in.
You're right. Lighting really makes a difference. Even faint changes can completely change the mood.
Totally. I think once we fix the dim areas and add a few radiant touches, it'll feel perfect.
All right, let's head to the store later and check out some luminous lights and sparkling decorations.
Sounds like a plan. This place is going to look amazing when we're done.
Wow, it's really quiet in here. I can actually hear myself think.
Yeah, I love how hushed it is. Makes it easier to focus.
Agreed. But earlier, it was so noisy with that group by the entrance.
Oh, I know. Their loud laughter was almost deafening. I'm surprised the librarian didn't say anything.
Right? Now it's almost silent. Kinda peaceful though.
Yeah, but I swear, I can still hear a faint whispering from that corner.
Oh yeah, someone's probably helping with homework. At least they're trying to be quiet.
True, I like it when people are mindful of the place. Loud talking in the library just feels so rude.
Exactly. And the echoing sound earlier when someone dropped their book. It bounced off every wall.
Seriously, I hate how sound resonates here. It makes even small noises sound huge.
By the way, did you hear the announcement earlier? The speaker was so loud, it felt like it shook the whole room.
Yeah, that was a bit too much. It almost broke the silence. Honestly, I prefer a steady, quiet atmosphere like this.
Same. By the way, do you remember the cafe we went to last week? It was so noisy I couldn't even hear my own thoughts.
Oh yeah, that place was chaotic. The music was blasting, and people were talking over each other. It was overwhelming.
Exactly. I prefer somewhere calmer, maybe with some light background music or a soft hum of conversation.
Me too. Somewhere not too silent, but definitely not deafening. Just the right balance.
What about that new cafe near the park? I heard it's cozy and the sound level is mild, perfect for chatting.
That sounds good. I love places where we don't have to whisper but can still hear each other without raising our voices.
Definitely. Constant whispering can get tiring too.
Yeah, it's like you're straining just to be heard. I'd rather sit somewhere where the volume is natural and comfortable.
All right, once we're done with this, let's head there. Hopefully, we don't run into another group of loud people.
Agreed. Let's wrap this up before the next wave of noisy students comes in.
Good call. Nothing worse than trying to calculate while the whole place turns into a concert hall.
Wow, it's really hot today. I didn't expect it to be so scorching.
Yeah, it's definitely scorching. I thought it was supposed to be a mild day, but it feels like it's boiling outside.
I know. It's like stepping into an oven when you go outside. I wish I could just stay inside where it's nice and cool.
Honestly, I'm with you. I'd take some cold air right now. It's been so warm lately, but today's heat is unbearable.
I was thinking about grabbing a cold drink to cool down, but then I realized I don't want anything too cold either. I hate when it's icy, it's just too much.
I get that. I prefer something lukewarm, just enough to refresh me without giving me chills. Plus, icy drinks can be too much for my teeth.
Yeah, lukewarm seems perfect right now. Not too hot, not too cold. Just the right temperature for a drink.
True, but if it's too chilly inside, I might have to put on a jacket. I'm fine with a mild temperature, but once it gets too cold, I'm not happy.
I totally agree. Mild is perfect for me. Not too hot, not too cold. Just comfortable. Anything freezing or below makes me shiver too much.
Same here. And with how hot it is outside, I'm glad it's not freezing in here. I don't think I could stand being in a freezing room after being outside in this heat.
Oh, definitely. It would be a shock to go from scorching heat to freezing cold. I just want something nice and warm, not boiling or freezing.
Exactly. I think I'll stick with something warm for now. I need to balance out this heat without overdoing it. Just enough to keep me comfortable.
Sounds good. Let's find something warm but not too hot. Just right to keep us going for the rest of the day.
This weather is perfect for sitting outside, don't you think?
Absolutely. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Days like this are my favorite.
Same here. The sunshine makes everything feel better. Have you heard if it's supposed to stay like this?
I checked the forecast earlier, and it looks like we'll have clear skies for the rest of the week.
That's great. It's been so rainy lately. I feel like I haven't seen the sun in days.
I know what you mean. The rain can be cozy sometimes, but after a while, it gets old.
Exactly. Do you prefer rainy days or sunny ones?
Sunny days for sure. They're great for getting outside. But I do like a rainy day now and then, perfect for reading or watching movies.
I get that. I like rainy days when I don't have to go anywhere. But for weekends, I definitely prefer sunshine.
Same here. Do you know if it's going to get colder soon?
It might. Fall is right around the corner, and I heard we could get some cooler weather next week.
That's fine with me. I actually enjoy crisp fall days, especially when the leaves start changing colors.
Fall is beautiful. I just hope we don't get an early snow this year.
Agreed. Snow is nice for the holidays, but too early and it feels like winter drags on forever.
Exactly. Let's enjoy this perfect weather while we have it.
Definitely. Days like this make you appreciate how nice it can be outside.
Wow, look at this painting. The colors are so bold, and the texture is amazing. I wonder how the artist created this effect.
It looks like they used a palette knife instead of a brush. That technique gives paintings a thicker, more textured look. Do you paint?
A little. I love painting with acrylics because they dry fast, but I've been wanting to try watercolors too. They have such a soft and dreamy effect.
Watercolors are tricky because they blend so easily, but that's also what makes them beautiful. I actually do more sketching and drawing than painting.
That's awesome. Do you use pencils or charcoal?
Both. Pencil sketching is great for details, but charcoal drawing gives such bold and dramatic contrasts. Lately, I've been experimenting with calligraphy too. It's really satisfying to create elegant letters.
Calligraphy looks so elegant, but I imagine it takes a lot of practice. Do you use brush pens or a dip pen?
I started with brush pens because they're easier to control, but now I'm using a dip pen. The ink flow makes a big difference in how the letters turn out.
That's really cool. I'd love to learn calligraphy someday. But right now, I'm more into pottery. There's something so calming about shaping clay with your hands.
That sounds fun. Have you tried making vases or bowls on a pottery wheel?
Yes. It takes practice to center the clay properly, but once you get the hang of it, it's so satisfying. I also like sculpting little figures by hand.
Sculpting must take a lot of patience. I've always been fascinated by woodworking. Carving something from a block of wood seems really rewarding.
It is. My grandfather used to do wood carving, and he taught me how to make small decorative pieces. It's amazing how a piece of wood can be transformed into something artistic.
That's the beauty of art. It allows you to take simple materials and turn them into something meaningful.
Exactly. And there are so many different forms of art. I'd love to try jewelry making someday, too. Designing and crafting something unique must be so satisfying.
That would be really cool. Art is such a great way to express creativity, no matter the medium.
Totally. Whether it's painting, drawing, sculpting, or crafting, there's something special about creating something with your own hands.
Hey Lyric, I was going through the report, and I noticed the graph on page 5. Have you had a chance to look at it?
Yes, I did. It shows the sales growth over the last 6 months. What do you think about it?
The trend is clear, but I think the labels on the x-axis and y-axis need to be adjusted to make it easier to read.
I agree. Also, the colors used for the different categories are too similar. It might be confusing to interpret the data at a glance.
That is a good point. Maybe we can use different shades or patterns to make it more distinct.
Another thing I noticed is that the line graph shows an upward trend, but the percentage change is not included. Adding that might help give more context.
That makes sense. Should we include a comparison with last year's data to give a broader view?
That would be useful. It would help show whether this growth is part of a long-term trend or just a short-term increase.
Great. I will make those changes and update the graph before our next meeting.
Sounds good. Let me know if you need any help with the formatting.
That's it for today's lesson. We explored how to use descriptive language to talk about people, emotions, objects, tastes, textures, sounds, and much more. Whether you're describing someone's personality, the flavor of a dish, or the shape and color of an object, using the right words helps you express yourself more clearly and confidently. Remember, good descriptions make your English sound more natural and engaging. Try using these phrases when talking about your daily life, sharing stories, or even writing in English. And don't forget, we've uploaded more videos on related topics, so be sure to check them out on our channel and website. Okay, thanks for watching today's lesson on English Fab. I hope you found these English tips useful and feel more confident. Remember, practice makes perfect, so try using these phrases in your daily conversations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Fab English lessons. Until next time, keep practicing and stay fab.